Thank you for your patience. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to everyone in the room and everyone watching online. My name's Tim Herbert, the General Manager. Far more importantly is Jimmy Ball, Torquay United Manager.
Thank you.
So the format for this evening, we're going to do a Q&A with Jimmy. I'll ask a couple of questions and then it'll be open to you guys. Have a little break and then we will go over to our co-chairs who will do a financial presentation for us and more Q&A. So to get us started, Jimmy, give us your thoughts on the opening few weeks of the season.
The opening few weeks have been a mixture, really. Overriding emotion is frustration. I think we haven't quite got going for whatever reason. But then there's some pleasing parts to it. I think that the Tonbridge performances and result, and then the Western performance were really pleasing to me for lots of reasons. The Tonbridge game, because it was just a proper scrap, and we stood up to it. We won away. They didn't win away till the 26th of October last season, and we won away on plastic, and we didn't win away on plastic until the third to last game of the season last season. So two big sort of monkeys off our back, if you like, which are great. And then just the Western game I enjoyed for the atmosphere and the fans, and the fact that they were all probably as frustrated as I was, but they didn't show it and they kept going, and the players responded. And on another day that could have been anything. It just didn't happen on the night. But I thought the performance was there. I've never seen stats like it at any level, in terms of possession, shots, 18-yard box entries, last final third entries, crosses, set corners. It was everything except that one thing you need to win a game of football. But if we weren't creating chances and winning games off our only chance of the game, I would actually be more concerned, because that then sooner or later you're going to run out of those moments. But we are creating chances, and even Saturday, we've had two great chances from inside the 6-yard box that one's not on target and one straight at the keeper. Could have been very different. We didn't do a great deal wrong. We broke down twice with two really poor defending. One, a poor decision not to clear the ball, and then the other sort of, the ball's got to be dealt with, but then the shot's got to be blocked, and you've got to take one in the face or in the knackers, as a player to stop a goal, and we didn't do that. And that was where my real anger over that game came from. It wasn't necessarily the performance. It was a good game against two good sides, and other than those two breakdowns, there was nothing in it. But we broke down twice, and we can't do that. So yeah. But overall, we're not there. No, I'm not pleased. I'm not happy. I'm not enjoying. Not overjoyed with it. But I really truly believe we're close. I truly believe we're close, and I truly believe that we will. Once we click, we will grow from there massively, and we'll be having a completely different discussion in a couple of months.
One more from me, Jim. We're going into a really, really busy spell. Do you break up the season into blocks? How do you view it when you look at the season as a whole?
I don't. I look at Saturday. I've never really ever gone past that. I think you can get ahead of yourself, and you've got to be humble, and you've got to take, you've got to give Hampton and Richmond a massive amount of respect, and you've got to prepare for them diligently as you would. And yeah, that only leaves me a day. Well, it leaves me Saturday night and all day Sunday and all day Monday to prepare for Horsham, but to prepare for Farnham. But that's that's how I work. I really don't look ahead. Um, I really don't look ahead. You've got to play everyone. Sometimes it can be kind, sometimes it can't. You know, we could have been playing at home and then playing someone on Monday a million miles away. Farnham's relatively close. It's top of the A303, so I don't really look too far ahead. I don't think you can. I think you can lose sight of where you are if you look too far ahead. So no, I think if you're at 9, 10 on a good month, 12 points a month, you win the league. That's what I think. So that's really what we're aiming for at the end of this month, to have 9. If you have less than 9 in a month or consecutive months, I think you're in trouble. But 9 points a month gets you right there.
And just on the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, what do you do on the Sunday? Because obviously it's such a short turnaround. What would be your plan on the Sunday for the players?
Work. They'll be in on Sunday to work. Yeah, it's tough, physically tough, mentally tough, but they'll be in Sunday to work. Um, the the physiological work will be to get all the lactic acid out of their muscles, to get all the delayed onset muscle soreness out, and then work on our patterns of play, our shape. The playing out, playing into and through the midfield, and then finishing the attack, and then stopping progression, blocking the midfield, and then defending your box. We go up the pitch, we come back down the pitch. It's a process. So that's what will be done on Sunday, whether regardless if it's a Sunday or not. You go through your same process. Players are used to it. They know they have to really zoom focus into detail. And yeah, we go with a plan. And the players will be working on Sunday to go and execute another plan on the Monday at Farnham. It won't be easy. A good side, Farnham. Um, a lot of experienced big game players who will be really looking forward to playing against Torquay United.
Right, that's the last of the boring questions from me. So I'm going to put it open to the floor. Debbie's kindly going to be our roving mic. So if you could just put your hands in the air if you've got a question. Any volunteers to get us started? And sorry, just to say, if you could make sure you speak into the mic so that the people watching online can hear clearly. Dennis, you're up.
This question actually that Shakira next to me wanted to ask. Um, are there any advantages or disadvantages in having a famous father? And did it put any pressure on? And I was lucky enough to see him play a few times, great player. But it must put pressure on you as a young man, yeah?
Not from him.
No.
No, never from him. Looking back, later in life, yes. But I can honestly say, as a kid, I never felt it, and I wasn't really aware of it. But looking back, there was certain things, certain moments and times, and especially playing football, and unfortunately, not having, quarter visibility. Because if I had, uh, I might not be here. Because the players nowadays don't need to go into management. Um, so pressure, no, no, not as a kid. I didn't feel it. I really didn't. Um, what was it like? It was amazing, but it would have been amazing if he was a baker or a butcher. It wouldn't. He was amazing. He was an amazing human being.
And he was one of the first.
Regardless.
He's one of the first players to play out in America, wasn't he? He went to, I
Yeah.
think, Philadelphia and Vancouver.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
went. He went to Philadelphia Fury, was his first club out in America, and
yeah,
then Vancouver Whitecaps
yeah.
was his second club out in
How did he
America.
fare out there?
Yeah, it was just a great time, great time of life. He's coming towards the end. He gets to go there for the summer and
Did he take
play
you
some
out there?
football. Yeah, we all there. We went there
Really?
as a family. Yeah, we were all there.
Yeah,
Philadelphia and Vancouver in Canada. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, wonderful times. They all went out, didn't they? There was, Bestie was out there, Bobby Moore was out there, and a load of his pals were out there
Rodney
playing as
Marsh,
well.
yeah.
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 So yeah, exciting
Okay.
for him and us as a family. We went and lived in Vancouver. Downtown Vancouver is amazing
Yeah.
as a kid. So
Not now, it's not. It's pretty rough now.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. Here you go. There you go.
Oh yeah. All it was really was like, I know Western came to sort of like park up, but a lot of the groans, not moans, but groans were, we played like 8, 9, 10 balls before we got to our halfway line. And then Western attacked. They weren't very good at all. Western attacked 1, 2, 3, and they're on our 18-yard line. That was just.
Yeah.
It just seems we're just going across, back to the keeper, across, and seriously, it just that not moans, but they were,
Yeah.
forward, because you can see Dion and sort of moving up front to get a ball through.
Yeah.
I know we don't like to pump it through, but you can see them running, and the ball's gone left or gone right.
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I understand that, and I can feel that. The philosophy around it is if you got to make a team move across and up and down as much as you can to pick 'em to make them come apart. One doesn't do his job, and we can penetrate, and that's a bit of my frustration too. They don't penetrate enough when they should. Their possession without penetration, I think Alex Ferguson said it, is pointless. It's But also you need grass and you need room. You need space in front of their back line and you need space in behind their back line. So sometimes we'll go up and it'll just there's no grass in behind, there's no grass in front, and then we'll try to draw them out, and they just didn't come out. So you're constantly trying to move them that way across, and you're trying to move them up and down. So we'll move them across. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but you've got to have patience. No one's going to come here and lie down. That's what we know is coming. We knew it was coming on the night. I think my comments after got a little bit miscued, and it was almost like I was having a pop at West, and I wasn't. I was just telling the truth. It's hard to beat a team that doesn't try to win and just stays in. Really hard. So, but we've got to be more patient, and we've just got to have a little bit more quality because there was chances. There was chances. There were shots at the keeper that weren't better. The keeper made 2 or 3 good saves, and when we're trying to do that, I'm trying to encourage the players higher tempo, higher speed, and be braver, penetrate with the ball, try those passes. The players know if they give away a forward pass, is never ever ever a problem for me. Never a telling off, never a critique. If they give away a forward pass, I wipe my memory of that, and I just encourage them to go get the ball back, so they know that. So I just want to be a bit braver and a bit more and with a bit more speed. But when we slow it down, or when they slow it down, what they're trying to do is just draw someone out to create just a little bit of space, either in front of their back four or behind their back four. And when they don't bite, then you try it again and again. And then what I'm trying to get them to do is, if they do make 2 or 3 slow passes, then the next 2 or 3 have got to be quick, just to try and change the tempo. So you're trying to change you're trying to move them across the pitch. You're trying to make them drop and then squeeze up, and then you're trying to make them jog and sprint and walk, and you're trying to change the tempo. You're trying to change all these things just to create something. And yeah, sometimes it's very hard and very frustrating, but you can't go full tempo all the time because then you do give the ball away. And then the counter attack stuff that's the counter attack is the price you pay for having the ball. We could give them the ball. So I could go Saturday, and I'd really like to do this, but I think you'd burn the place down. I'd like to sit off. I'd like to sit off someone here and just camp in our own half, like Weston did, camp in our own half, make another team come onto us and then win it and go boom, 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 boom. I'd like to do that. I don't know whether it'll go down very well. Because counter-attack football is brilliant because you everyone in your own half. I watched I thought it was fantastic. Man City, Bournemouth. Bournemouth's first goal was typical of counter-attack football, of what happens. Man City, they hadn't touched the ball hardly, and then they robbed it off them. Poor square pass, robbed it off them. Bump, bump, bump. Next minute, it's in City's net. They're 1-0 down. And then Newcastle, Liverpool. Both games on Sunday were counter-attack goals. And if you have possession and you have the ball, and you're trying and you're probing and you're pressing, you can't score a goal without risking the ball, and you can't score a goal without committing bodies forward. And the price you pay for that is counter-attack. So it looks like we've got to take 20 million passes to just get it in the box, and they go 1, 2, 3, and they're in our box. That's counter-attack football, and can't do anything about that if you've got the ball. If they let you have the ball, you've got what the key is to attack with defensive safety as best you can. And what we try to do, and every team or lots of teams now try to do, is they try to make a box in the middle of the pitch when you're attacking. And the thought process of that is when the other team win it, they've got to go around and not through. So you force them to make a couple of sideways passes and give you a chance to get your bodies back. So when you're defending and defending a counter attack, you force them around and don't let them through, which buys you a bit of time to get back in. But there's not a lot you can do about counter attacks if you're going to risk the ball and you're going to risk bodies and try and score goals and try and entertain your crowd. So it's the rub. It is the rub. 1,000,000%. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm with you. But if they're trying to move, but there's no grass in behind, and they're trying to come off to create some grass in behind, and the other team doesn't bite, we're setting traps for the other team all the time. So all their movement is to try and set a trap for some space. And if they don't bite and they stay, you can move all you want. You end up pushing it into a congested area, losing it, and then you got a 70-yard sprint. And sometimes it's bravery to risk that pass, knowing that if you get it wrong, you've got a 70-yard sprint, so players go safe. I don't like safe players. I want brave players. But it does take a bit of time to change all of this, to be honest. And they understand that their manager accepts we're going to get counterattacked. Don't accept conceding from counterattacks, because we should block off the middle, force them all the way around, and by the time they get round and into our box, we should have adequate bodies, because they should have all sprinted. But counterattacking play is the bane of teams that have the ball. You can't score a goal without risking the ball. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally agree. It's not new. We've got to be better. But had we been better? So let's just go back, if you don't mind. So when no, so yeah. So so we'll all remember going to Western and beating Western 3-0. What was the difference? Worthy scored after 8 minutes. Completely different. Now they can't do that. And so you got to go be better. You got to score goals. So I'm not bemoaning it. We got to score early, or we got to score in the first half, and then second half is a proper game, and we get more space, and we get 2, and we get 3. That's the key. We can bemoan it all we want. We should have done better on the day with the chances or half chances or shots or crosses that we got. That's the fact. But it was third game of the season. We're still not quite there. A lot of new players, a lot of just a bit of cohesion, maybe not right, timing, knowing each other, maybe. And then you score one in the first half, and that's a completely different second half. And I absolutely believe it ends up 3, 4, or 5. But we didn't. So then we're constantly trying to get the first one, knowing that they can counterattack. So I understand. I absolutely understand, and I'm feeling the same. But when they do stop it, I don't like the ball ever to stop. But when they do, I do get it, because all you're trying to do is you're trying to stop it to try and draw someone. As soon as you draw someone and then you miss him, he can't affect the game anymore. Overload, yeah, exactly. So the key for us is switches of play to try and move them across the pitch, fast switches of play, whether it's in 1 or 2 or 3, and then penetrative runs so we make them drop, okay, and then movement to make them squeeze, and we're trying to get them to go left, right, up, back, left, right, back, up, as much as we can, and hope somebody or somewhere in that movement breaks down, gets lazy, stops doing his job, switches off, and we can then penetrate and punish. That's okay. Score will be good. It'll come. It'll come.
Jimmy, I've got a question for the other end of the pitch that's come in online. Will you be looking to replace Jordan Dyer?
I won't. You can't replace Jordan Dyer, because he's a wonderful human being and a great kid. But we will likely have to do something to make sure we are covered in that position should anything happen to Sam, Jake Winnell, or Tyler Hill. So I think that's a conversation that we're having. But like anything, we'll be prudent. We won't rush. We will do our homework, and we will make sure we get in one, financially sensible option and somebody who can make us better.
Thank you. Back to the floor. Any more questions?
I thought that was Patrick then. He was taking off his headphones.
Jimmy, got quite a big squad. Jimmy, got quite a big squad.
Yeah.
Options all over the place. We would like to think, particularly up front.
Yep.
Does that cause you a particular problem in terms of players that itching to get on the pitch, or they're not particularly happy, or do you feel a need to put some of those players out there just to keep them happy, or is it a case of they're only going to get a start if they're there on merit? Well, what's it like having a bigger squad and more options?
Yeah, the bigger squad thing is it's not right. I've got 21 outfielders. Western have 21 outfielders. Dagenham have 23 outfielders. I've got 21 outfielders. Same amount of outfield players as Western have. But no one says Western have got a big squad. We've got an adequate squad. We've got that's what I've tried to do. Because ultimately the when I came into the club, it was off the back of some defeats and 7 players injured, and it cost the club the league. So you have to have depth, but it's not an unusually big squad for the level and the amount of games they play. 46 games plus FA Cup plus trophy plus other Devon Bowl. That's another one. So we're not unusually. It's not an unusually big squad. I've tried to have not only cover but options to play different systems and different styles, if you like, if necessary, and keeping them happy. I think I'm very honest with them. They know where they all stand, and they've got to have a shirt. And when they're given they've all been given an opportunity to play, so grab it and grab it with both hands and never let it go. That's what happened with young Harry Shield in pre-season. He was outstanding, and I went, I'm going to pick you above a senior player because you grabbed this kid. Good luck. Same with Kean Jenkins. Grab that. He's been outstanding. So grab the shirt. Competition is good. Be a competitor. Be a fierce competitor every day. And if you all are, we'll have a hell of a chance and a hell of a squad. Moan and groan about not being in the team, but you've all been given chances, and you'll all be given chances again. So take it. Don't moan about it. Grab your opportunity. Has any of you ever been given anything? I certainly haven't, regardless of famous father. He kicked me out of a football club, said I wasn't good enough. I've never been given anything, and these players won't get given anything. They'll be fighting tooth and nail every single day to play for Torquay United Football Club, as it should be. It's not my job to pick them. It's their job to get picked. And that's the competitive. That is football. No team's ever won any league without having a majority of their players as fierce competitors, and no one's No sportsman's ever won anything without being a fierce competitor. And that's the environment I'm trying to create. So the squad is the squad. There's everybody is looking over their shoulder, and everyone is at it every day to earn the right to play for this great club. I'm at the back. Dodgy looking guy at the back there. Look.
Hey, Jimmy, you mentioned different systems there.
Yes.
I heard once upon a time that higher league players adapt quickly to different systems, but lower league players often struggle with changing systems. Do you think there's a downside to having different systems?
No. No, I don't, because horses for courses, isn't it? You know, you've got to be. What I like to try to do when I'm assessing an opposition is, firstly, I want to look at where we're going to hurt them, where players I've got available to me can hurt the other team through perceived weaknesses from myself of weaknesses in that other team. Then I really like to try to make them change. I really like to try to make the other team change because of what we're doing. And that might be using a different system. And we haven't deployed it yet, but we've got the capabilities of playing three. We've got the capabilities of playing different systems, lots of different systems. But it hasn't been deployed yet because of that same process I go through. I wanna where can we hurt the opposition and then where can we make them change? Where can we make them change? So we made Dagenham change on Saturday. They dropped, not dropped, but they changed for us. They didn't play with any wingers. Dagenham on Saturday, top of the league, whoever, like all that sort of stuff. They changed for us. So then you kind of then you're on the you kind of if you play chess or anything like that, they've changed strategy. You've got them kind of changing for you. That's a mentality thing. Now you've got to force that advantage home. And again, unfortunately, we weren't able to do that on the pitch. But a good side, really well built side, spent some money but wisely, good manager. I really got a lot of respect for Lee. I think he's great guy. Known him a long time. You know, careers have been the same. And he changed for us. But we weren't able to take advantage of that on the day. So disappointing in that frame, but having the capability to do lots and lots of different things. And you're asking the question, I think it's how complex you are in the shape changes. Football doesn't change. Principles don't change. You know, styles. You can play the same style in completely different systems, and the ideas of moving the team across and moving the team up and back a lot will be the same if I played a 3 or a 4 at the back, and 3 in midfield, 5 across the middle, 6 across the middle, 1 up, 2 up, 3 up. We'd still have the same principles of play of what we're trying to do to the opposition. And ultimately, to be good at football, you got to pass the ball to someone with the same kind of shirt as you. Like a player playing, whether he's playing as a fullback or a wing back, that doesn't affect whether he can pass the ball to his teammate. Doesn't affect whether he can cross it. Doesn't affect whether he can run. Doesn't affect whether he can head it. And I think sometimes, you know, we think too much about all this stuff. You may be, for difference between a fullback and a wing back is probably 12 yards. You'd be 12 yards higher than you normally are. So why is that, you know, complicated? I think if your principles are the same, it shouldn't matter what system you play. And the system should be there to help you cause the other team massive problems and get them to change or get them out of shape.
Okay.
Behind you, Deb.
Jimmy, I'm interested in players' reactions. So TV companies from time to time have a sort of like fly on the wall documentary in a football club. I'm And I was just interested in the 2 away games that you've had so far. First at Tunbridge, and then on Saturday from Dagenham. So that's quite a lot of miles to cover on the way home after the game. So if there was a sort of like fly on the wall documentary camera in the coach, would there be a difference between having come back from Tunbridge as winners and coming back from Dagenham as losers? Sorry, I'm.
Of course, yeah, of course, of course, yeah, of course. I'm not going to be blasé and go, no, we take it on the chin and we're big boys about it. No, of course. I think the same. I think me and Darren have the same debrief. First thing we do is we get on win, lose, or draw, and go, what have we got to do better? And we look at how we've got to improve. I think that's important. And then we move on quite quick. I spent quite a lot of time with the players coming back from Dagenham because there was honest conversations needed. I call big boy conversations. But it was all good. It was all positive. It was, like you say, when you're being honest with someone and you're having a big boy conversation, it's okay. It's okay. It's not an awkward thing if you're coming from a place where you want to help them and you want to get better and you all want to improve and you all want to win. And so yeah, of course it was a different atmosphere. Of course it was a different atmosphere. But we got on the bus. Right, what have we got to do better? What are the key points? Where do we feel we fall down? And then we wait to watch it. So we watched it. I watched it. I couldn't sleep. I watched it late that night. Daz probably did too because he's obsessed like I am. And then I watched it. When I was watching it at night, I make notes of certain time periods in the game, and then I watch those back again the next day. And it's never as good when we win. And you think we were brilliant, and we murdered a team, and you watch it back and go, "Cool, we didn't do that right. We didn't do that." And it's never as bad when you lose as you feel in that emotional period. So watching it back is really, really key, and I try to do that as quickly as I can, so then I can move on. But no, of course, the atmosphere on the bus was different, of course, because well, for me and the players were fuming. Players were like I was. People have said I came across as I was low or I was down or I was depressed after the game. That's not my depressed mode. That was my anger mode. I was absolutely raging, and I don't scream and shout when I'm angry. I that's how whatever I come across. I'm not trying to come across as anything. It's not a show. I'm not interested in cameras. I'm not interested in rehearsing and being something I'm not. I'm just unique. And so many people have said to me, "Why don't you not have the interview after the game?" No, I'm happy to have the interview after the game. Just be authentic, be yourself, tell the truth. You can't go wrong. And so my feeling after the game was anger. I was angry that we sent amazing fans home with nothing. And what I said at the time, a kind of toothless performance where we conceded 2 horrific goals and never really laid a glove on them. And if they didn't deserve that. They sang all game. They were incredible, and I was furious. And that's my job is to speak to the press after the game, and I'm going to do it from an authentic place. But no, the bus wasn't great. But it was once we chatted, once we talk, once I'm a big boy. Once things have been said and we all talk and we're honest, it's we'll draw a line, move on. You can't dwell in life. You can't change it. You can't go back. You got to move on. You got to get up and keep swinging. Thank you.
It's a couple of questions from online now. The next one is, Jimmy, what's the plan to improve set pieces and corners?
The corners are annoying me because we got to a place where we looked really sharp and bright with the corners, mostly in the delivery of the corners. And then recently the delivery's been shocking, apart from obviously Keane's at Tonbridge. But Keane's went in because of the movement. Believe me, he was a good corner, but he went in because of the movement, and Isaac did incredibly well with his movement to take somebody out of a hole. and it's more so on the delivery. And I'm with these kids every day. Their technical ability is outrageous. But then when you get into a game with whatever pressure they perceive is there, and they can't kick the ball 37 yards, I, I, I don't know what to say. Trust me, it irks me more than it possibly could irk anyone because of the hours and hours we put into it and the movement. I think the movement's been really good. If you watch the corners and take away the delivery, the movement's been great. 3 or 4 of our players get free most corners. But that's what a corner is. A corner is space created, ball delivered, man arrives. And so you've got to get everything right off a corner. You know, the balling's got to be perfect, the timing of the run's got to be perfect, and they both got to meet each other at the perfect time. So they are, you know, there's not teams scoring corners every single week. So it's not, you know, and they're trying to stop you too, and they've got every right to stop you. But the delivery is the thing that's been bugging me. But I can't kick the ball from.
Okay, another one from online, and I promise this didn't come from me, but it says, will you be loaning any players to Buckland Athletic? And how are our youngsters getting on in general training?
Yeah, so we've got the 4 young boys. The 4 young boys have come in and been great. They've done really, really well. They train great. They're working very hard on their game, and they're humble, and they're picking up kit afterwards and doing all that good stuff. The first team players have integrated them really, really well. And for them now, it's just about games of football. It's not really about level. It's about, right, go and get 35, 40 games of men's football this season, and we go again next season. But they're in everyday training with us and competing themselves well.
Back to the floor. I think there's a
Paul.
gentleman just there, Deb.
Paul's at the back. Look. For pins and needles, his hand's been up for half an hour.
Yes, hello, Jimmy. Just a corollary to what Bernie was saying earlier on, and wanting to delve a bit deeper. I suppose safety or bravery is in the eye of the beholder, because obviously Dagenham's first goal came from one of our players.
Trying to dribble out of the box, yeah.
Being quite brave. And if he had have done...
No.
So that's the wrong kind of bravery.
When 4 of your teammates who are looking past you are telling you to man on, clear it, and you take a touch, that's not bravery.
Okay.
If he kicks that over the stand, it's not very Torquay-like, but if Callum Morton kicks that over the stand, we go in 0-0, and hey, who knows? Who knows? I had some changes in mind.
Yes.
We go in 1-0 down, and those changes are different now.
Yes. I felt we were a bit unlucky, though, because the ball across the box was... I thought both their goals were opportunist. And I know after the game you were very upset about our lack of fight and everything, but I thought we could easily have won that. I thought for long periods we were comfortable. I think we could have won all 4 games. And a lot of the fans, I know you're very exigent about all these things, but I thought all 4 games we haven't been that bad at all. And obviously, as soon as we get a little bit better, I think we'll be a lot better. But I didn't think we were that bad at Dagenham, and probably all but a couple of fans agree with that.
I agree.
So
I agree, but not being bad ain't good enough.
I know.
In my mind.
But
and kind of.
I hope that Callum wasn't kind of. I don't like the term crucified, but you know what I mean.
No, he wasn't crucified.
Yes.
He made a mistake.
Yes.
He made a mistake, and he was told so, and he held his hand up.
Yes.
But that's all. That's kind of like holding your hand up after a mistake, and everyone going, "Oh, yeah, okay, he held his hand up. That's fine." No, it's not. Make better decisions. You've got to make better decisions. We've got to make better decisions, and being okay and nearly men is not why I'm here.
No,
it's not. It's not, Paul. And so, I believe I'm here to win a league. And then after that, after about 20 minutes of enjoying that, I'll be here to win another league. It's that simple. You don't get a lot of joy as a manager. You get a lot of angst and disappointment because you have to be better all the time. And no one was crucified. People make mistakes. They're like your kids. They make mistakes. And you try and help them get better. But accepting that we've been okay in all 4 games is not my can't be that. And we could have won 3 and lost on Saturday. I'd have felt the same on Saturday. And if we'd have won all 3, which we should have done, and we've been okay and won all 3, I wouldn't be happy. I want great. I don't want good. And I demand it every day. So that's where we're at. And the goals were, it was a shot that's gone straight to one of their players. We had the same instance in the game. Matt J had a shot and it hit Alan Morton and didn't go in. So we could go, a bit unlucky. I said, no, well, we weren't good enough. Because there can't be any, you can't unlock the door and make excuses so that they can walk out the back door. You've got to hold them accountable. You've got to lock the back door and make them walk out the front and face people because it wasn't good enough. And opportunist goals are opportunist defending moments as well. Their desire to put it in our net was stronger than our desire to keep it out, and that is not acceptable to me. And it still feels like I'm mad. I'm gone way past it. We've had a great day today. We had a good training session yesterday. It's gone. It's finished. We had our debrief on Monday morning in here on that screen. Tell the Truth Monday. And it was good. It was cathartic. And it should be. Because we're not here to be good. We have to be great to win this league. So it's uncomfortable and it's relentless. But that's the only way you win leagues. You can't accept anything less. Otherwise, you get into a nice mode where it's okay. We played quite well. They nicked a couple of goals, got a bit lucky, a bounce of a ball here and a missed time pass here, and oh well. I don't believe I'm here for that.
No, thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. Is that too strong, or is it, you all right with that? Okay, good.
How close would you say you are to?
Sorry, I got you.
How close would you say you are to knowing your first choice starting 11 now?
Great question, because that's been levelled at me a lot. Do I know my starting 11? I do. I've just never had them available. Just never had them available. I haven't had a right-sided player since Harry Shield got injured in the first game of the season. All we discovered is fractured, broken toe. Not had a right-sided attacking player fit. So I do know my strongest team. I've just not had them available, and so I've had to try to tinker, if you like, and just try to put a square peg in a round hole down that right-hand channel, just to give us an outlet. And it's quite obviously, but based on results, not worked as well as I'd have liked. So yeah, I believe I know my best 11. I just haven't had them available yet.
Okay, we'll do one more from the floor and then take a little break. Has anyone else got another question?
Jimmy, thank you very much for coming over to us at Dagenham on Saturday with your honesty and apologies. It's much appreciated, I think. Well, I hope it is. Another question, or a question, when it comes to sizing up the opposition, do you have a team of scouts to give you any information?
No, we're very lucky. There's a software that all clubs sign up to and have to input their games, so we can watch we can watch all the opposition games freely. So I agree with you. It's never as good as eyes on. But that's why I go. That's why I drive and get in my car and drive. I went to 2 Dagenham games this season. I went to a pre-season game and I went to a game on Friday night against Farnham. So I go and get my own eyes on. I'd rather spend them. I'd rather save the money on scouts and spend it on players.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. That's a few matches which don't clash, so
Yeah,
to give you that
but
ability to go
the software we have to watch, we can watch everything and every player and absolutely everything on everyone, and they can watch ours too. So, but and I can guarantee you, no one watches more than Darren Way. The man's obsessed. I thought I was pretty obsessed. He's on another planet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for what you say. It's about honesty. You know, when we you know, some people have made a bit of a fuss of me having a really nice conversation with a fan after Western, but I'm honest. When we're not very good, trust me, I will come over and I'll say that's not good enough. But thanks for your support, and that's not good enough. Just to let you know, I know. But when we have been really, really good, and Western drew that game there by the grace of God, and who knows why, we did absolutely everything, and the players never stopped, and the fans never stopped. So when someone's screaming and shouting at me that we were absolutely effing rubbish, I can't accept that. If I agreed with him, and we were, I'd have walked over to him, I'd have shook his hand, and I'd have told him to meet me for a beer, and I'd have apologised because he would have been right. It was, and we were short. We were just short of a finish. But listen, I think football. The reason it's the greatest sport in the world, and like lots of sport, but it's all about opinions. Well, who you think is a great player, I'm not having, and who I think is a great player, and you know, who's a great manager and a great team and a great goal and a great this and a great that. But someone else will have a completely different opinion, and that's absolutely fine. But then it also gives me the right to stand up for my players and say I totally disagree and you're out of order, and get in touch with the club and I'll send you your money back if you truly believe that that was effing rubbish. But I don't. But when it is, which it was on Saturday, I agreed. I walked over to you and I said, thanks for your support, and that wasn't good enough, and I'm sorry. And that I just believe that's right. I can't be one way one week and not the same the next. You will get an honest appraisal from me, and the appreciation of the commitment you've made to travel is incredible, and the numbers in which we travel in is massive sense of pride when we walk out at a football game, and we're the noisiest group there. It's fantastic. It's appreciated by me, and I know it's appreciated by the players because I know how hard that journey was. Because we did it. We did 8.5 hours on Friday in a bus. There was a queue on every single motorway we went on. It was outrageous. And then the nearest hotel we could get was about an hour and a half away. So we had another hour and a half on Saturday morning. So there's 10 hours there, and then 6.5 hours back. And I'm not moaning. I'm not moaning. I knew where Torquay was, and I wouldn't be anywhere else. I absolutely love it here. But it is hard. But it's not an excuse. I won't allow the players to use it as an excuse. We've got a lovely bus, we had a lovely hotel, we had great food, and get on with it. But I absolutely appreciate the effort it takes for fans and the financial output to travel week in, week out to support your team. And it's not lost on me, and it's very much appreciated. That's why you will always get acknowledged by me, win or lose, home or away. And I'll tell the truth. But thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to take a short break. We will recommence the second half at 8:10. But finally, just a big thanks to Jimmy. Thanks for your time.
Thanks all. Thank you.
Being here today, I wish the season started tomorrow.
It's simple, really. Give players a football and they're happy.
So if we can help Torquay United, they're certainly helping us.
Well, obviously last season didn't end the way that we wanted. The fan in me was gutted for the team and for the fans. Even that Sunday afternoon after the final, we switched into planning mode. Starting with recruitment, activating our business plan, we cracked on. I have to say the big difference between, I'd say, this summer and last summer is that we demanded a very, very detailed plan. And we wanted to best understand how at the club we could then provide the right infrastructure, the right environment, the right tools for Jimmy, Darren and the team to prepare the players best for our campaign that kicks off in August.
It's been a lot calmer than the last sort of 8 weeks, 10 weeks of last season, and everyone can understand why. So yeah, just bringing a bit of calmness to the group and a way of working, laying down principles of how we're going to play and in the different units and different areas of the pitch. So it's now about, you know, really imparting, you know, the style and the principles of play and not bombarding them too much, because, you know, you've got to prepare them properly in all the different aspects of pre-season. And yes, fitness is one, obviously, it's a given, but how we prepare ourselves for the many challenges that this league throws up. Systems, styles, playing surfaces, you know, teams coming after us, teams blocking us, and we're going to have to overcome all those hurdles. So it will be about the messages and about planting seeds in their mind for, if we come up against this, this is how we play. If we come up against this, this is what we do. If this has to change, this is what we're going to change to. The footballs are out. You know, the footballs are out, and no matter how old they are or what stage they are in their careers, they're still those kids who first kicked a ball in the playground or with their friends or their dad. They're still those kids. They still love the ball and fascinated by the ball and want to play with the football. So, you know, it's not old school. We're not running up and down the beach or running up and down the hill by the Carey Arms or anything like that. We're doing it, you know, with the football, and they're getting the hard work in, but they got a smile on their face and they're enjoying it because you involve the football as much as possible. It's simple, really. Give players a football and they're happy.
Being here today, I wish the season started tomorrow. I'm super excited about the new recruits. It's very clear with the lads that were here last season that they've got a score set, and I think they've got that steely focus in their eyes. Of course, for us, we're excited because we can see on a daily basis what's happening. And I think that I'm really pleased that there are 8 pre-season friendlies this year. That's another big difference. And as Jimmy would tell us, it's not about the results, it's about learning good behaviours, practicing new patterns, deploying the players in the system that Jimmy wants to play, which I think fans will get excited about. The recruitment, I think, has been really, really clever. And I think that once fans start seeing their players in action, I think they'll start to get excited as well for what comes next.
Every player that's signed has been the same. They've come here for a reason. They've come here to achieve things. They've come here to win things. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here, if I'm being honest. It's the first sort of thing I want to know is their drive and determination to be winners. So Obi Savin's come in. He's a real presence. Pulls off saves, talks, big, comes and catches things. Proper goalkeeper. Zach Baker has been brilliant since day one. Come in, great attitude, working extremely hard, and again has got loads of talent between the sticks in all aspects of his feet, his handling, his coming and catching crosses. Really good shot stopper, and you know, really great personality. You know, Don Bernard's a pro. That's why I brought him in. He's everything he does is up there, 8 out of 10. Communicates. He's aggressive when he needs to be. Can play. Yeah, pro. Tyler Hill's been really impressive. Really good one-on-one defender. Athletic. Excellent passer. Excellent distribution as well. So, yeah, really excited by him. Kean Jenkins has been good. Tenacious, aggressive, good passer, good technically, all the way up the left-hand side. So, gives me lots of options
Yeah, really, really happy with him. Impressed. Callum is clever. His movement's outstanding, and he's always on the move. You can't rest. The defenders can't rest when he's on the pitch because he's always moving. He's always an option. I think he's going to cause a lot of problems. Isaac's a beast. Big, strong, athletic, aggressive. Yeah, he's again gonna be a handful. Going to give people a real problem because he can drop in and he's good receiving it, but then going the other way, good luck.
Sean Robertson.
Lively, live wire, pace, aggressive pace as well, like wants to get at people, wants to run them, and his crossing is fantastic. Jake is experienced, strong, great size, great physicality, great experience, is a voice, a leader, and tidy, really, really tidy on the ball. So we'll be able to dominate the ball from goal to goal, hopefully.
Dion Moore.
What do I need to say? I think we had a glimpse of what Dion's capable last season, and obviously in the style and in the way we attack, it suits him, and I think he should carry on where he left off.
We had an approach from Torquay United to share our training facilities and our pitch, and we were absolutely delighted to say yes. They respect everything that we've got going here. The place is immaculate afterwards, and the players and all the coaching staff are a delight.
Stood here today on the Dartington estate. It is beautiful, it's peaceful, it's secluded. We've got all the facilities that we need.
It also embeds us with a professional club and also help develop community and professional club links, and I think that's so important these days. So if we can help Torquay United, they're certainly helping us. Linking with local clubs at grassroots level is much needed, and we thank Torquay for their initiative.
I just think it's conducive to bringing out the best in them, the best in the club, and we're very grateful to have this as our new training home.
I'm happy with where we're at, and this season I think it's going to be a bit different for us. I don't think we're favourites. I think we're not underdogs, but we're not favourites with what other clubs are doing and what other clubs are how other clubs are going about it, which that's up to them. I'm just focusing on us, but I think that takes that favourites sort of title off us, relieves a bit of pressure, adds pressure to other people by what they're doing and how they're doing it, which is fine by me. So slightly different, which is great by me. So we're just gonna go about our job. We're just gonna work extremely hard every day, turn up every day as a new day, and work hard again. By the end of April, early May, we'll know where we stand, and it will be we'll have achieved whatever we've achieved through hard work, taking responsibility and dedicating ourselves to a challenge.
So we'll go through a few of the key points from Saturday. The first one, I'll bring up the save you made earlier on in the game.
I think it's a bit of a save that goes under the radar. Not a lot of people sort of knows the detail behind it, really. He's obviously come down the line and I know he's sort of going to cut it back. I was never going to be able to hold the ball, really, so I had to sort of guide it out into a safe area, which is, I think, the only area was sort of out for a corner. So otherwise, obviously, the player behind would have had an easy tap in. So.
Yeah, definitely. Just keeping out one of the pleasing things for me on it was the set you made.
Yeah.
Like we talked about previously, making sure you're set as he's striking it. You've done that perfectly there, and that's how you're able to make the save and direct it where you want it to go. The second one we'll go with is obviously the big save you made right at the end. So from a keeper's perspective, the technical side of it, there's a lot that you've done right.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of detail in this save as well. As soon as I realised I couldn't affect the throw, I had to drop and buy myself some time, and he's got a flick on the ball which looks to be sort of going over my head, so I had to show a lot of footwork back and claw it off the line as best I could, really.
The biggest thing for me on that is people don't really notice. They see the save, they see you springing across the goal and making it, but they don't show the footwork that allowed you to get into there. Because first off, you're really, really aggressive to try to look like you want to come and deal with the throw. When you realise you can't get there, it's a little step back in for the first header, then you step back again, which is why you're in the right position to make that save. Because without that feet work, you'll get nowhere near it, and then great strong hand to get around the post.
Honestly, I was gutted when he made the save. Obviously, we worked a lot during the week in training on the long throw, and little things like reaction saves through the week. So it just sort of all the things we worked on put together into that save.
And the third bit for me is probably one of the most pleasing ones. Like deep into injury time, you're brave enough to come and deal with the long throw and not just get someone on it, but to actually hold it.
I think it all starts with the start position. I know that he's got a long throw, so I edge a few yards and try and affect it in any way as possible. And I know how big it is for the team to come and kill the game, especially the last few minutes of towards the end. So yeah, it was a big moment for the game, which I think got us over the line.
Keeper's perspective, it was a really difficult one from a starting position point of view, because the way the AstroTurf is, and it's dry and nothing was skipping through. So I think you had to make your decision early on whether you were going to be really high or drop it and let them deal with it.
Ball doesn't carry through as much as it would on grass, and especially the heat as well, which made it even worse. So I had to make my decision whether to stay high or drop, because I would never be able to affect the ball as well as I would on grass. So that was definitely a key factor going into the game that me, Ken and Zach had to think about.
Jimmy, tell us why we're here.
Listen, it's good for the lads to know that we're all together, bring everyone together, enjoy themselves. We've come back earlier than most, I would say. They've been fantastic. They're fully committed to everything. So just enjoy yourselves, let your hair down for a couple of hours, get to know each other, the players' wives, families, kids, enjoying themselves together, create a bit of a family atmosphere, and everyone just enjoy himself.
These things at the beginning of the season, do you see their worth further on in the season?
Yeah, we've brought a few new players in. We've brought a few new people and all come together, and because it's serious, there's a lot of pressure playing for Torquay United, and rightly so. Everyone's come here for the same reason, to be successful and to improve their careers. A lot of time we're very, very serious and we work hard, and so when you get the chance to come to a beautiful place and enjoy ourselves together, you take those opportunities.
I'm Mark Annier, the owner of the Green Table. Delighted to be hosting this wonderful barbecue for Torquay United and their fantastic players. And we've cooked them some great beef brisket today in our amazing smoker, and the beef's come from Dartington, so we're really pleased to be showcasing what we do, showing them around the lovely grounds and telling them what great things we've got to offer in Dartington.
It's been great having people who understand what the athletes need, what the types of food they need for the output that we ask them to go through on a training day. So having the Green Table help us with the players' nutrition, all the food is fresh and organic and the right sort of portions of proteins and carbs and all the stuff that they need.
It's important, obviously. It's a long old season, so these people in our corners, whether we go good or bad, they're always going to be proud of us. So we know who we're with, who we're going into the trenches with, and see every day. We're going to be together more than our families. So having a day like today to get to know each other and almost have a fun day in the weather is perfect.
Yeah, obviously what an amazing venue, the Green Table, right by the training ground, so absolutely perfect, and the food and atmosphere been amazing, an amazing place to come and just enjoy an afternoon with the players.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Part two of the evening, our co-chairs are going to go for a bit of a financial presentation, and then after that, we'll open the floor to questions, and obviously questions online. So I'd like to introduce our co-chairmen, Michael Westcott and Mark Bowes-Cavanagh.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. I'm gonna probably, Patrick, am I right standing here? So tonight we're not just talking finances, but we're also talking a bit of strategy, give you guys an insight on the challenges of running a football club, trying to balance our ambition with producing a winning football team, and also trying to make the firm up the foundations, make the numbers add up, and try to chart our future as a football club. As we see our journey at Torquay United on the screen there, we think about it in different phases. When we first arrived just over 2 years ago, it was all about stability. It was about steering the good ship Torquay United away from the rocks, because we nearly ran aground as a football club. And then we thought very quickly about the foundation that we had and how could we look for growth in every sense as a football club. The perennial theme that we talk about in every board meeting is how do we reach a sustainability, and what does that mean? And I'll talk about what we think sustainability means as a football club, because football clubs that aren't sustainable will always be potentially in peril. And then, of course, what drives everything and what unites at least the 7 of us at the Bryn Consortium, as well as the Supporters Trust on the board, is ambition. We are an ambitious football club, and we want to be able to position the club where we can realise that ambition. Next slide, please. And so I thought it would be today, and this is all part, this forum tonight is delivering on the promise that we promised would always be open with you guys and give you the full picture. So as my colleague at work would say, this is us opening the kimono this evening as to kind of what we think about and to lay bare some of the facts as they are about the position of the football club and particularly the finances that underpin that. And so to start with, these are the sort of 6 things I think would be good for you guys to know and for us to share. So last season, compared to the season during the administration season, our crowds here at Torquay United are up 41%. So last season we had crowds, league crowds, these are 23 league games, averaged just over 3,400, which is a remarkable step up considering that we're still playing at the same level, which sort of tells us something about the untapped potential of us activating and galvanizing the community around this football club. Our revenue, so that's our income. That's the money that we bring into this football club. The year that we took the club over, the year that it went into administration, the club did about £1.8 million in revenue. This year we're budgeting to do just below £2.8 million. And so in the last kind of 2 and a bit years, we've been able to sort of drive that revenue growth for the football club to the tune of about £1 million on the top line. So that's just over 50% growth. We'll go into that. The football spend. So we're a football club. So guess what? The majority of our expenses go on football. And so our total spend across football, and this includes the men's team, the women's team, the academy, and the entire football infrastructure, which we'll talk about more, is a big part of what we spend. And that is knocking on the door of £1.7 million a year in total. A bit of potential breaking news. So this is subject for us dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but we have an agreement in principle with Torquay Council to reset our lease to Playmore for another 125 years from now. There's a ton of benefits for that, which I'll talk about later, but it does potentially help us open up other funding opportunities to make stadium improvements if we've got a longer lease. That, for those of you who've ever owned any property, we will understand that a longer lease means that you can get funding to be able to do leasehold improvements. One thing we're super proud of is our supporter ownership. You're not here just as an audience tonight, but many of you are members of the Supporters Trust, and the Supporters Trust are shareholders and absolutely important and fundamental to the growth of our football club. And when Mark and I and the rest of the Bryn boys came in, it was the first meeting we ever had with anybody about contemplated taking over the custodianship of this football club, is that we wanted the supporters in the club from day one, and there they are. And a bit of a reality check. We're still losing money. We have budgeted to lose money again this season to the tune of £366,000. It's still too high and must keep coming down, but we are making progress. So just a little insight as to so where does our money come from? So we kind of roughly bucket it in these sort of 5 areas. So ticketing and the marketing and media income around basically our fans. Ticketing is just over a third, 38% of our revenue. So a lot of people say, well, you get massive crowds, and so you must have huge budgets. Well, the money we get from ticketing, so that's season tickets and pay on the day, is really only 38% of our revenue share. And that number is just over £1 million. It costs us £1.6 million to run a football operation at this football club. So for those people that sometimes think you guys are delivering 3,500, you must be full of money and you can spend it all on the football, well, it doesn't come close to covering it. Right? It doesn't come close. So we have to make it up in other ways. So you're sat in another renovated restaurant. You would have seen this whole building here in the family stand has been renovated because we have to use it as an income generating machine for events, for hospitality, to fulfill on sponsorship packages. And you can see there that why putting people in the ground and buying tickets for league games might deliver us £1 million, providing, using and sweating the facility here for hospitality and events on match days and outside comes close to that. Comes close to that revenue at 700,000. And then there's sponsorship. So this is predominantly business-to-business sponsorship. So this is us galvanizing the business community to leverage the Torquay United platform and our reach into our community, to leverage the brand and align with that brand and against a whole portfolio and inventory of sponsorship partnership programs. And that we think will deliver us just over £500,000 this year, nearly 20%. We've got, at the last fans forum down in Boots and Laces a few months ago, Tim outlined our new youth development and academy program. It's an income generating academy program that washes its face, but at the same time provides a pathway from the youth right through, hopefully, into the first team. And that's an income generating program at the moment, but because we don't get it funded from external sources, so we have to find the funding ourselves. Again, against the background of sustainability, that's the model, and that should generate us about £130,000 this year that helps us operate the entire academy program. And then there's retail and what I call everything else, bits and bobs, makes up that revenue pie. So all those numbers down the right should then add up to that budgeted revenue for this season. And so our budget runs from July the 1st to June the 30th, in line with the, as you might imagine, the football season. So tickets, food and drink, and sponsorships are 80% of our income. There's some notable absences here, and we'll talk about those in a moment.
Might just want to mention while we're here that we have one of our main sponsors is here tonight. WCI have supported us this season, which we thank you very much for all your help, because I know that Ben and everyone else was putting together deals over last season and this season, but we're very happy you've extended that deal, and obviously you've done up the suite. So thank you very much for your continued support for Torquay United. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. So we talked about our, so the last 2 years, last 2 seasons, we've had our highest average attendances in 50 years for this football club, which is telling us something. So we just put up there, these are our average attendances. So you're thinking, so pre-Bryn, so 23-24, that's our administration year. The first year under the new ownership structure, we were knocking on the door of 3,800 or a bit more. Now the reason that 24-25 is higher than last season is because we ran a large number of community days. So you might have noticed that the Wallens End was full, even on Tuesday nights, with 800,000-900,000 people. We made a deliberate attempt to go and give away a number of up to 1,000 sometimes per game community tickets, because this is all part of our engagement program to get people used to coming back to Playmore again, because many of them had not been for many, many years. So that attendance figure was probably artificially inflated, frankly, because you had, probably 7-8 games of the season home games were artificially inflated by probably up to 1,000 people. Obviously, we didn't do that last season, and we were knocking on the door of just under 3,500. And of course, I thought I'd put that one in because we only had 2 home games and we had them both over 4,000. So it's a good bar chart. So, but this is how we think about it, and this is how we talk to the sponsorship community, and how Torquay like to be seen as vehicles. So we had just under 80,000 people that came to watch the 23 home games last year in aggregate. A new number for you that you so Play More passes for this season. We are standing on 1,781 fully paid Play More passes. In total, we have 1,916 because we have some partnership programs whereby people are entitled to Play More passes. But full transparency, so we've got 1,916 season ticket holders, of which 1,781 are paid this season. I don't know if there's any other club in. I don't know. Certainly not in our league that's anywhere close to that, and we think that might be that number's probably not been surpassed in a couple of decades here at Torquay United. So year on year, this season, because of course we've collected all the season ticket income already as a club, that's a 13% increase year on year so far on season ticket revenue. So last season's average league crowd was 41% higher than it was in the administration year, and then so far this season we're just above 4,000. Let's see what happens on Saturday. And this might be interesting for some of you. I'll skip by this, but as we think of Torquay United as a media platform and as a vehicle for sponsorship and brand alignment and partnerships, this is how we kind of think about it. This is our community that is not extends beyond the 79,000 people in aggregate that came to home games last season. It extends beyond the 1,900 season ticket holders that are here every game, the nearly 3,500 people that come on average to every league game. Our community reaches far beyond Play More, and so you see there we have across our key social channels 88,000 followers. TUFC TV, which those of you at home watching this right now, that's our YouTube channel, and in the last 12 months we had 1.1 million views across TUFC TV. Our website gets around 2 million impressions per month, and on TUFC TV in the last 12 months we've had just close to 68,000 watching hours. Right, so we'll log up a few more tonight because there's several hundred potentially online tonight watching something that's already an hour and a half in. So we talk about a club that people engage with every day, not just on a match day. And this is where we've got to move from, is not just a football club that opens its doors 23 times in a league season for the men, 11 times a season for our women's team, half a dozen times for various youth matches. We've got to start thinking of Play More as an events venue and a 365-day a year business. And that's where we're trying to move to as a business, because as you see, ticket revenue alone only covers 2/3 of our football costs, let alone everything else. So we've got to start, most football clubs at our level have got to start sweating the assets that they own and leverage their reach of the brand and the communities that they serve, whether it's in their location, which for us is South Devon, but also wider than that. And so people engage with us every day, whether it's in the ground on their phones around the world or across South Devon, whether it's consumers and fans or whether it's other businesses wanting to network with each other and leveraging the reach and the platform that Torquay United, as probably and arguably the largest community asset in South Devon, certainly the most visible, provides. So our job is to turn that reach into a stronger relationship, both supporters, and that helps to galvanise and strengthen the club within its community. So, where does our money go? So we talked about where does our money come from, and where does it go out? And so we talked about the income being around just about 2.8 million. So and I said to you that we'll lose about £370,000 this year. That's because the costs going out the other end are just over 3.1 million, and of which first team football's about 48% of that in total in the football operation. So, and then you can see football takes the lion's share at the bottom there. F&B hospitality, well, that's just the cost of goods, right? So that's if we've got 700,000 coming in from food and beverage, that will be at a margin of around about 30% net margin. So that will cost us 450,000 to fulfill. So if you buy a curry for a tenner, it probably costs us 6 quid to yeah, something like that. I don't know, do the maths. Yeah, and admin. So that's our overheads. Admin is generally costs of people. So think salaries. Similarly, operations. There's a bit of salaries in there, but day-to-day stuff like utilities. You know, the cost of doing business for anyone, let alone a football club, is humongous. You should see our water bill for the last 8 weeks while we've been trying to grow a pitch from seed with 50 days straight of no rain. Energy is expensive, and so our big chunk of that is also utilities. And then we've got the academy costs, commercial. That's just the cost of fulfillment of a lot of our sponsorships, as well as the people costs around delivering that. Then we've got ticket to marketing costs of think things like commission to the fan base, the ticketing provider, the payment machines, and all of that stuff. Got the women club. A lot of that is travel because they're playing National League football now, so there's quite a lot of travel costs involved, training ground costs, etc. Women aren't paid. Our women's team is an amateur team. And then there's retail, and our retail model with the X3 is really interesting because we don't carry the risk of the stock. We just take a royalty off the top of every sale that is made. So our retail costs are actually so the margin is very good for us, and our retail costs are quite minimal. So this just gives you a picture over the last 3 years that our revenue is growing. And so you can see there it's gone from 2.21 in our first year. We're budgeting to deliver 2.77 this year. But what we don't like is those boxes in red, and that's our losses. So the losses were around just over 700,000 year one. Last year about the same. We did quite a bit of restructuring last year, as you probably saw. So there's a number of costs associated with that. But we've made some real strides, and the good result of the restructuring and the recalibration of our cost base has allowed us to not only drive revenue up, but also drive some costs down and expand our margins. So that's why we are. So on the right-hand side, you've got revenue going up 25% from 24 to the budget this year. You've got the loss that's coming down from around about £750,000 down to budgeted loss this year of 366. There's more on that later. But the bottom line is that the loss is still £366,000 for this club. The revenue is still growing. The budgeted loss is lower, but for us, £366,000 is still too high from our perspective. So, who funds the loss? Who fills that gap? So, from left to right, so our budgeted loss this year is £366,000. The loss is expected to be funded by the Brin Consortium, which is big in business. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do it by issuing new shares. The net result, so that's equity, not debt. So rather than loan the money, the club money to be expected to be paid back in the future, this is an investment that we, as the 7 of us now, are willing to make because we believe in the plan and the long-term future and the plan for the club. So the net result would be, even though these losses are covered, the money owed back to the shareholders is 0. We want to keep a super clean balance sheet. Now, our supporters trust, because of the recapitalisation during the last, it was done about 3 or 4 months ago, which you would have seen, has meant that because we're going this route by actually buying equity and issuing more shares rather than burdening the club with debt and loans, so obviously everyone dilutes accordingly. And so under that under the recapitalisation a few months ago, so the Supporters Trust current holdings, and the emphasis on current holdings, is just under the 12% mark. And so I think from all of us as shareholders, our viewers, we will back the club, but the loss needs to keep coming down. There's a little footnote there, and it wasn't to hide it, it just came out really small. So when we, so on June the 30th, which is the last day of the financial year, companies publish what they call their balance sheet, which is a snapshot in time of it's like a financial health check of the football club. And so it looks at your assets and your liabilities and how much cash you've got and all of that, and your commitments and things like that. And what it will say there is that the only debt, the only people that we owe money to, ironically being a professional sports organisation, is Sport England. So this club owns Sport England £576,000. Now you're thinking, what? How did that happen? So COVID is the answer to that. So most professional sports organisations, not least football clubs, took 1, in our case, 2 COVID loans. And there was a holiday for 2 or 3 years where you didn't have to pay anything back, and that's now changed. And they're super aggressive about collecting it as well. So we've made our own negotiation with Sport England. There are a number of clubs at our level that are still trying to negotiate this, but we're paying £4,500 every month, and we will do till 2041 until it's paid off. But that's the only debt on our balance sheet. So just talking about football spending a little bit. So year on year, actually, this year versus last year, we're pretty flat. So if you look at a 4% increase in our investment of football, you factor in inflation, it's pretty flat. But I think we've recalibrated how we spend that. So kind of investment in first team budget is broadly level. But there's definitely more investment gone into the wider football setup. I think that's fair to say. And when we talk about football, just for sake of clarity, we're talking about men's first team, we're talking about the women, we're also talking about the academy, and we're not just talking about player wages, by the way, because they are they're only a part of this. Nowhere close to all of it. And so so this is how we think about investment in football. Is what our football spend pays for is, so the team, so in this case, think about the men's first team. We're talking about player salaries and bonuses. We're talking about management salaries and bonuses. And importantly, especially in this era where there's lots of injuries knocking around, player insurance. So we think about the team, then we think about performance. And when we think about performance, this year, a very conscious investment we've made into expanding the backroom team. And that's one of the things that persuaded us that Jimmy was the right man for Torquay United is his whole approach to performance. And we made a conscious effort. I think the first 2 things we did within days of Jimmy arriving, he needed a striker, he got Dion Moore, and he needed a strength and conditioning coach to help with performance and injury prevention. Those are two things that we readily agreed to. So when we think about performance, it's the expanded backroom team. And if you've seen the players warm up in the pitch, or you've seen the training videos, or you saw all the pre-season videos that we've done, you see there's a lot more bodies running around in purple Torquay United kit. That's because we've got a much more expanded backroom team, but particularly a focus on strength and conditioning, because Jimmy alluded to earlier tonight, one of the things that potentially cost us last year was our pre-season preparation, and then we were susceptible for injuries, and we found ourselves in March where we had 10 available outfield players. And that, arguably, that kind of did for us, as well as a poor start to the season away from home. So combine those two things. So we felt that strength and conditioning was a key priority. We were persuaded of that, and analysis. And so that's using all the tools at your disposal for recruitment, opposition analysis, and tools that help Darren and Jimmy to translate all the data and hopefully translate that into a winning combination in terms of tactics and strategy on the pitch and recruitment. And then preparation. So that was really key, and that's how we think about. So training ground costs. So you might have seen this year we switched to grass. We've been using a combination, mostly driven by the weather and the lack of rain in South Devon this summer. But we're effectively using 3 training grounds. We're using South Devon College, we're using Buckland, and we've been using Totnes and Dartington. And I think the focus for us is that long term is that we want a permanent training ground, and that's a more medium term project. But we potentially think we've found a nice little home down in the South Hams at Dartington. And we'd essentially like to expand that relationship and make that a more permanent base for us, because it's perfect in every way. So training ground costs, team travel, increasingly expensive, as you might imagine. And because of the traffic, we've done our first 2 away games have been overnight stays. Think £4,000 or £5,000 all in for an overnight stay. There's a lot of people, a lot of travel, 2 bus drivers, etc., etc. And it's an expensive business, and you've got to do it, because if we try to go on the day to Dagenham on Saturday, we would have had to leave Playmore at 5 a.m, and that's no preparation for a professional first team. So we think about travel, and then we've got the medical and performance support as well. So you would have seen a video come out pre-season of all the lads down at Marjon University doing testing. So these are all new elements. They cost money, by the way, these things. And I know we have partnerships, and then with medical and rehab, I think we funded 3 major surgeries last season, maybe 4. I know of 3 for sure. I can't remember the 4th one, but they're expensive. You're talking 5-figure surgery costs alone, plus the rehab, and plus wages that are not actually not being useful for you, because we've got players out. So we did some maths, and we thought knocking on the door of nearly 30% of our wage bill was in the treatment room last season. And then when we think about what our football spend pays for, we also think about the future. And so that's been a super important focus for us, is that whole youth pathway, the youth infrastructure, the academy infrastructure, and then staffing that, coming up with a model that works at the point where we don't receive any external funding because of the level that we're at. But we did need this youth pathway, and we just don't want to let hemorrhage talent to our near neighbours. And we were just talking tonight. Ollie Watkins is probably Exeter going to get another windfall, potentially to the tune of, we don't know, but probably good 7 figures, because yet another move for Ollie Watkins that should have been arguably a Torquay United player, would have been. Anyway, and then we've got we think about the women's team, and we've talked about that before, but I think that's super important for us in terms of what we're trying to achieve as a club, as part of the community, and then the player pathway. So football spend, just so you know, isn't just first team players, it's not just wages, but it's the whole infrastructure that supports football right across the football club at all age groups and all levels. I'm not far done. Stay with it. So a few things just here at the stadium. You probably noticed, but what's changed at Playmore probably over the last 12 months. So you'd have seen that we spent money on new floodlights. Before we did that, we had to spend a lot of money on remedial work on all the pylons, which are ancient, and we need to make them safe and robust. Yeah, next on the list. But we need light to play football. But fair point on the speakers. That is definitely very close to the top of the list. The pitch. We do a full pitch renovation every year. Actually, this year we've gone further. And we're obviously worried about the El Nino effect. They're talking about the wettest November and December in history coming up, which a groundsman, yeah, I won't tell you what he said. So and so we've done an additional full sandbanding again this year, and we've put some additional drainage here at the family stand end. You've seen the Astro gone down as well. So the pitch, it will need every bit of help that it can get. We might need to consider additional equipment as well, just to help with drainage as we think about the El Nino effect that will give probably UK its wettest winter in God knows how long, which is great. So, you know, it's not brilliant for us that struggle to grow a grass pitch in a drought, and then you get a 3-month break, and then you get essentially the 2 wettest months in history, potentially arriving if you believe all the news over the last few days. We've had to upgrade the irrigation system, which again is old and needed remedial works. And we've also invested in the new fan experience. So with the new ticketing system, we just hopefully people find the fan base, now they're used to it, much better experience for fans to get to games and to acquire tickets through us. The new big screen. We've had to upgrade the whole payment system for everything, whether it's in the shop or in the retail, the F&B operation, and tickets on the door, on the turnstiles. And then we've obviously invested in renovating this floor that you see, and if you've walked past any of the suites now, you see that they're all branded and being completely renovated inside. And again, this is to enhance the fan experience, is to keep people here longer and to spend more when they're here. And that's just kind of what we have to do. You've seen the numbers. This is what we have to do to drive revenue. And we also need it to be an alternative to other external event venues. So we're competing with hotels and bars and other places out there in Torquay. We want people to hold their parties here. We want people to have their wakes here. We want people to have their anniversary parties here. We want companies to do their training days here. We want people to have board meetings here. We want to do all of that. And so we've got to step up. We've got to invest accordingly if we want to compete with other venues. I talked earlier about the lease, and this is really important. It doesn't make any difference to our bottom line or anything like that, but it really does make a massive difference for us. It gives us, what it does do, let's just say this, it gives us more confidence in investing in the stadium. So if we find ourselves hopefully soon in the Football League, I think if we've managed to increase our crowds to the extent that we have in just 2 years, and we're still playing in the National League South, we know that the addressable market here in South Devon is significantly beyond where we are at the moment. If we can start delivering league football and competitive league football and find ourselves rising through the pyramid, we know that what the addressable market is. Then we have a choice: is do we go and go somewhere else and try and build something accommodate, or do we try to use the footprint that we've got at Playmore and develop that? Because at the moment, while technically you may think we've got a 6,500 capacity, the truth is that health and safety regulations these days means that we can only really get to just under 6,000 here. But with the right investment in the infrastructure to be able to expand that capacity, and there's some other areas that we can increase the capacity, then if we've got a much longer lease, it just gives us more confidence to do that. But more importantly, it gives us a better chance to secure grants and other external funding for infrastructure improvements if we've got a much longer lease. So we're quite far down the line. We just need to dot the I's and cross the T's, but we think that's quite soon, don't we, Tim? So the council have been brilliant with us on this, and so hopefully we'll be able to confirm that to one and all in the not too distant future. I'm hoping a question of weeks rather than months. Let's say. So what's not included in our budget? So 2.8 million revenue, 3.1 million of costs, nearly 400,000 loss. But here's potential upside, how we thought about it. So our base case for our budget is that with our season ticket holders and pay on the day, our base case assumption for our ticketing revenue this year is us getting 3,400 people in here on average per game. Right, so at the moment we're just running over 4,000. It'd be great if we keep there, but let's be honest, it won't, well, who knows? But if we can beat that, anyone above that number is upside.
You said it.
I'm so happy, Jim. I am so happy Jimmy said.
The elephant in the room.
I'm really happy that Jimmy's watching this. Cup. No pressure on this either, Jimmy. But God, oh boy, are we due an FA Cup win in any round would be good. But I've just that 34,175 number I just put there because if we managed to win 3 games in a row in the FA Cup qualifiers and found ourselves in the first round proper, that alone is just prize money. That's not share of gate receipts or anything else. That's just prize money. That's nearly a salary for one of the junior players for the year. Think of it that way. So that's upside, right? It's just upside plus gate receipts. You need to go on a cup run. I don't need to tell. We don't budget it. We've budgeted 0 for any cup income. So just another illustration. Player sales. So players are assets to any football club. We budget 0 for realizing any of those assets in player sales. But we have saleable assets in the club. And if we realize any of those assets, again, that's upside. And then commercial upside. So we've made a bunch of base case assumptions. This is Luke's number. And these are all our sponsorship and partnerships. But there's potential upside potential there. And we work on that every day. We want to get to budget, and then we need to think how we can blow through that. And it is really interesting because we've got brands and businesses coming to us all the time that helps us create new inventory. Now we can think about going beyond what we've committed this year. So again, the 366,000 loss is our base case assumptions for our budget and financial year, but it's not the limit of our ambition. Promise, I'm nearly there. But let's be real. This is there's still tons of room for improvement. On the football side, well, year 3 and we're still in National League South. Say no more. There's an imperative for this club for us to get for momentum for the business plan and for us to keep moving forward is that we all know what we are setting out to achieve this year. I don't need to dwell on that. Financially, we're still losing money, and that loss is still going to keep coming down, and we'll be relentlessly focused on that. Training, we need a better long-term training base. And that is, by the time this season comes around, I'm hoping that we found the solution for that. Commercially, we need to earn more from the audience and support that we have. I still feel that we're underexploiting the opportunity that we have, given the reach of this football club. And I'll caveat that we are, let's be honest, we are serving quite an economically depressed area. There aren't dozens and dozens and dozens of companies in our addressable geography with big fat marketing budgets. There just isn't. Playmore, our stadium, is old, it's aging, it's been previously underinvested, somewhat neglected, and the bar's quite high. We're spending a ton of money just to be compliant. We, probably spent 18,000 pounds on fire doors that no one sees, just to get the fire certificate in the summer. And that's just stuff that comes around. It's a big stadium, and stuff needs doing that doesn't help us win football matches, doesn't help us sell any more beer. It just helps us keep the doors open, and that's just the reality of any business, I guess. But it hurts, right? And then the match day experience, that needs to, it's getting better, and I think most people would say Playmore's a happier, better place to come these days. We know that we're not the finished article. We know there's tons of improvements to be made there. You tell us in the fans surveys that the toilets need to be moved, and the food's crap in the kiosks, and all of this stuff. We are fully aware of that. But what it does mean is a considerable stadium remodel of flow, and that needs a plan, and that needs money, and that's money that we can spend on that and not elsewhere. And we're going to have to, we hope that you can trust us to do the right things in the right order, in the right priority, because we are very well aware of where we fall down on the experience, what we're good at, and particularly we're very focused on what we're not. So there's been, I guess, the headline really, or conclusions there, that we've made progress, but there's still a ton to do. And I'm very pleased to say I've only got 2 more things to say to you, and then we could do questions, which is more fun. So look, I think overall, so we're growing as a club. The business of the club is growing. We're not yet properly sustainable. Some of the bullet points, just recapping on some of the stuff. So our football is all about their supporters. The business of the football club is very dependent on its crowds, and our crowds are 41% up last season than it was the season we took over the administration season. That's quite a remarkable number, really. 50-year season highs. Our revenue from this year's budget compared to the year that the club went to administration, that's our income, that's our sales, that's up 54%. Our football spend is relatively flat. And we've reduced losses. So year on year, the loss we incurred last season and the loss we have budgeted to incur this season is reduced by nearly 350,000. So we found 350,000 of savings on a business that's actually growing in revenue. And that's part of the work that we did during the year last year. So the bottom line is that crowds and income a lot. We're spending a bit more on football, and we're spending a lot more on the football infrastructure. But the club is still budgeted to lose that £366,000 this year. And our job is to grow income, keep reducing the loss, and invest in football without risking the club. And I guess if you to ask Mark and I and the rest of the board what our priorities are, do I need to say the first one? Promotion. That's our priority. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but our job is to give Jimmy and the and the team the very best chance of attaining that goal. We need to grow. We need to grow the business of Torquay United. We've touched on some of those areas. We need to keep growing reliable, year-round income. We need to invest in the right places and do the right things in the right order to keep the business growing and help enhance the experience of people keep coming to Plainmoor, whether it's for match days or for non-match days, importantly. And sustainability, we need to keep reducing the annual loss and the reliance on shareholder funding. And to summarise at the end, our ambition to get out of this league and our responsibility is never risk the club to do it. So that ends this presentation session. Thank you. Next slide. And then we'll go to questions now. Feel free to ask whatever you like.
Thank you, Michael. Excuse me. I'll go to the floor shortly, but we've had a couple online already. The PA question, the tannoy system, which I know is at the forefront of a lot of people's minds and ears. The quotes are in. We are acutely aware that it needs to be improved. So we're getting quotes to see what we can do. We've already had a sort of semi-thumbs up from Forever Yellow that they could help support. It is potentially an area where we can actually get some grant funding as well, which would be obviously amazing. We've got a bit of a grant guru who hides in the background who's looking into this for us. So PA is definitely on the radar. So now I'll go to the floor. Any questions?
What I'm thinking of is I know Torquay United are really struggling with the finance stuff. Have you thought about having like venues like open concerts and having a roof over the stadium to keep everything dry, like the grass and that?
It's one of our dilemmas that we've had from day one is obviously making sure we can get non-match day income. And so we are looking at all sorts of opportunities around the different bars that we've got here. And obviously we've made the hospitality a lot better than what it's been before. And as Michael suggested in his presentation, we're looking at parties, wakes, all those kind of aspects. End of season, is there a short window for a couple of weeks where we could maybe have a few concerts, maybe a weekend, maybe a Friday to Sunday where we could do some, I don't know, the proms at Plainmoor, something like that, who knows, a dinner dance or something else like that to add income to the club, but also before the pitch is obviously sandbanked or whatever's needed to do to the pitch for any given season. So we're looking at that all the time. There are lots of other opportunities that we're looking for on the sponsorship side. We are looking at stadium rights. We have a local company who are very, very interested in that, and we've sent them some visions of that, or what the stadium could look like without losing the name of Plainmoor, but thinking about how we can get additional income into the football club. So there are lots and lots of commercial opportunities. I don't know about a roof necessarily. I don't know whether we could put a gazebo up or do something like that. But look, we think about all these things all the time. We had a football tournament during the summer here, so we had the community engagement. I think there's lots and lots of things where we could look at doing business meetings here, do first aid courses, all those kind of things. Luke has been working very hard on the commercials with local businesses. And of course, one thing that we haven't spoken about is when you do increase income at a football club, so when you do increase ticket sales, you've got to give a better service. When you do increase a better hospitality, you've got to maintain those partnerships. And one of Luke's jobs, apart from extending the commercial activity of the club, is also to make sure we maintain those partnerships with our current partners. I mentioned before about WCR. You know, they've come into the football club to support it. They support a lot of local sports businesses, but we've also got to make sure we support them. What are they getting out of this process? How are we supporting that mechanism? Can we persuade them to put their Christmas party at Plainmoor? Can we think of other ways of getting more commercial activity out of our partners? So we're thinking about all these things all the time. I'm very happy at the roots, the grassroots that we're building at the football club in terms of what Paul did at the football club before and what Jimmy's done to build the assets of the players that we have at the football club. I think we have got players who have a transfer value now, and if they're not right for the football club, then and we can bring in better players who we think can do a job, then we have that opportunity. The commercial side, the sponsorship side, the hospitality side is a lot better. We can do a lot more non-match day income. I've got loads of friends who love going to the rugby, love going to other things at weekends. Guess what? They're suddenly coming to play more on Saturdays. They're suddenly not looking too much at the result. They're looking at, hey, this is a really good place to come. So lots of things going on, lots of positivity about the football club. We're not putting pressure on Jimmy or anything like that because there's a lot of pressure that comes with Torquay United anyway. But we're getting there and we're making very good strides.
Thank you, Mark. And I'd just add the playoff promotion final we had here at Playmore, while the football didn't quite work out for us in the end, I think that gave all of us the confidence that we can host something really, really special. It was an absolutely amazing day here. So that's given us a bit of a platform and a boost that we can do these things.
One of the things you didn't mention in your analysis of the finances was money from the Forever Yellow fund with the banner there. How important is money from the trust in your budget?
Massively. So yeah, so we don't budget for it in the P&L. It's a capital injection, and at the end of the season will be treated as a capital injection and converted to equity. So the goal of the Forever Yellow fund is to raise 100,000. I think you're about 86% of the way there, and this is an basically enhanced tiered membership for Supporters Club, Supporters Trust membership. And I think when you invest in the Forever Yellow fund as a membership program, you can identify 3 areas in which you'd like those funds to be allocated, which is super democratic and as it should be. And so that's realised. So those how we thought about that is, around player, football budget, youth development, stadium improvements, and as a result of that, we're already doing stuff, right? So we're able to get the Harry Shield done as a result that we knew that 86% of that Forever Yellow fund was already allocated. So there's some infrastructure stuff. I think if we want better speakers, maybe that's what could be one of the projects as well. So it's super important as capital injection. We don't budget it on the P&L as should be, because we're going to treat it as a capital contribution that gets converted to equity. So the bottom line is it's massively important, and if there are fans out there that feel that they could contribute in a different way, having seen the realistic picture, then one obvious route to do that is through the Forever Yellow fund, because it's not even an indirect way, it's a direct way. You can directly ensure that your money goes directly in the places where it's required that can make a difference.
Thank you. Any more questions from the floor?
Does the 1.687 million include agents' fees?
Yeah, everything. On the football side, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's everything. So agents' fees are part of that. Last year I want to say £15,000 are spent on agent fees. 18? I can't remember what we budgeted this year, but suspect it'd be more, yeah. Because we brought more players in and stuff like that. And so, yeah, agents, they are they're just a realistic factor of our life. It's changed, right? Because at this level, 10 years ago, there probably wouldn't be much agent activity. But Jimmy will tell you better than me, but every player at our level seems to have an agent now.
But we don't have any pet agents as a club. I think in the past we may have had.
No, from the club, we don't. Whether the manager has his favourites, you'll have to ask him.
You do get some good agents. I mean, yours was particularly good, wasn't he? No, but you do. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because agents, it's in their interest to move players on. And when you've got a very young squad, young players can instantly get taken in, can't they? But, you just got to manage that process. And we try and do that as closely as we can and try and let Jimmy do that himself with the agents.
Put it this way, if I hear swearing from Jimmy's room, I'm pretty confident who he's talking to. So that might sum it up. Okay, next from the floor. Oh, sorry, Darren's not nodding yet.
Just recently, I stayed the night in Dorking when I went to watch the Tonbridge game. And I noticed around the town, there's posters everywhere advertising their matches. Is it something that we could do here? Because we get a lot more tourists than Dorking do. And there's a chance to add maybe 200 or 300 to the gate each week. Just a thought.
Yeah, and I think it's something, Dennis, that you've mentioned previously before, whether we could get some local bars. We have done it in some places, haven't we? We could do more there, couldn't we?
We could. We could just jumping in. We've had a bit of a campaign this summer where we've been dotting them around hotels, bars. Joe and the TUFC team have been amazing in helping with that as well. So, yeah, we hear you. You're absolutely right, and it's something we're doing.
And could it be the reason why we've got increased crowds at the moment? Who knows? We did think about whether we could change the flowers there to yellow and blue. English Riviera, welcome to Torquay, home of Torquay United as well. I know that was something that Danny was looking at with Wicks and things like that. But there are, maybe with our close association with the council, there might be ways and means of us doing that.
Yeah, with reference to advertising at the bottom of Hamlin Way, that was in association with Devon Garden Machinery before they moved their premises behind where was it? Got little oldie is now, isn't it? Yeah. In view of last season's unfortunate incident where a Chichester City player lost his life through crashing against the concrete wall, brick wall, whatever, is there any plans in place to make the perimeter of the pitch safer?
Yeah. Tim? You're going to use the same mic.
Thank you, Nigel. Yeah, so what happened was we had a site visit probably mid to late spring where they did a full assessment, and it's fairly obvious that we would be one of those stadiums that we earmarked for that funding. The next step then is you go to the FA Premier League. They've obviously said to us that we will get 100% funding. So now we just await the email and the messaging to see how that is actually going to look. Because obviously they've got to do hundreds of stadiums around the country, but we are definitely on the list, Nigel. Another question from the floor?
Thank you. I just I just wanted to thank you both for an excellent presentation, and the honesty and transparency was really good, and I think for encouraging fan engagement and commitment, that's really important.
We did have a question from online, which is talked about the area behind the pop side and whether we'd be looking into different fan zones around the stadium. Again, without hogging the mic, it is 100% something we're looking into. Also behind the Wallens, we just know that that area needs to be tidied up a bit and make it a little bit more attractive, not just for visiting fans, but when our supporters are resident in the Wallens End, we want to make that place just a little bit more enjoyable. And talking about what Michael said, it's all about the fan experience. Any more questions from the floor?
Does the extended lease with the council give us more ownership of the green space outside, or more potential to do anything there? And also, would we look to make any improvements around the ground that could become revenue generating? I know Eastbourne built indoor paddle courts, and obviously paddle's a massively growing sport. I know I can't book a court for half the time I want to play, so could we look at doing something around the ground like that?
Yeah, so as part of the lease renegotiation reset, we want to expand the footprint of the area that comes into our lease, and that includes that green space next to the swimming pool. So that would then get covered in our lease, our monthly rental payments, and then we need to figure out what we're going to do to leverage that space. So we've done a bit of engagement with local councillors, and because obviously we're in a residential area. So we thought about a multi-use games area, Mugas as they call them, because we've got chimney pots all around us. We have to be careful about more floodlights at night, etc. So but yeah, we want to try to create an asset as well, an income generating asset. And once we know we've secured that space for a long time, and that's what I meant by having a 125-year lease. It then allows us access to different funding pots, not just football foundation and football related and sport related pots, but also local authority and other sort of government entities that could leverage that for us to create a community asset. And everything we do, trust me, is all about trying to find to create income streams for us as a football club that's sustainable and long term as well, recurring revenue streams. So we're quite happy to invest a capital expenditure up front if we've got a revenue model that we know is recurring, and so that's fine. That's just good business. That's just good investment. Quite happy to do that, and it increases the asset value of the club as well.
Thank you, Michael. One more that came through online was a question about whether we would look into solar energy, and again, that's something we are looking into. Luke's leading that. I think Luke and Jimmy are in a competition to see whose phone rings the most, but yeah, it's definitely something we're looking into, and Luke's leading that one.
Solar's a no-brainer, right? We've got enormous roof space here. The other thing we're also doing is we've got a borehole specialist that's up here at the moment, looking at the geology and hunting for groundwater. Because if anything this summer's told us is that water is expensive, and groundwater is just much better than the mains water for grass seed. So that's the other angle. We were very jealous of our friends at Buckland who had sprinklers going the whole time. It's because they've got their own borehole. And so yeah, that's another area. So if we can start again moving to sustainability on an energy front as well, and as I say, if we can turn solar into an income generator, so energy into an income generator as well, that is the way that most football clubs need to go, and we do.
And I don't work for WCR, but WCR who've helped us along the way, they're actually working on that sort of project with Luke as well to support us on that solar side of things. So again, thanks for that.
Right, thank you, Nick.
I just wanted to say that fans are obviously the lifeblood of every football club, and I'm well aware that our fans here at Plainmoor are fantastic. The support that they've given the football club is just out of this world, really. And Bryn have transformed the football club and Plainmoor into a ground and a team and a club that we all love coming to watch, the friendliness, the welcomes we get when we get here are transformed from what they were under previous ownerships, for which we thank Bryn fantastically for all the work they've done. I also want to say that you fans, the Yellow Army, everybody who comes to watch football here at Plainmoor, you supported our community share issue to the tune of £250,000, which is a remarkable figure, well beyond our dreams when we first launched it. And now we have our Forever Yellow fund, which has already been mentioned this evening, and we've got stuck at around about £86,000 of our target to reach £100,000. And we have, I don't want to put pressure on it because cost of living, people have other priorities for their finances. We all accept that. But we have currently just over 600 Bronze Trust members who are paying £2 a month to be a TUS member. And if we could persuade you 600 bronze people, if you would raise your monthly subscription to say £5 a month, 10 if you could afford it, 15 if you could afford that, we would reach our target of £100,000. And that money will go to the football club, as Michael explained. There are three areas of support that you can give. We've already helped to get Harry Shield into the club. We're quite happy to help with the upgrade of the PA system. There are lots of other little things that we can help with, which we would love to do. And if we could persuade more of our season ticket holders who aren't TUS members at all to become a TUS member, that would be a fantastic thing as well. So sorry to be sort of like a promotion here this evening, but I think it needed saying that, we have terrific fans that follow Torquay United home and away. And if you want to support your football club in other ways other than watching the matches, your financial support will be very welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick. And I know everyone at Tust has worked really hard on this, but a special mention for Joe Uglow, because he's been amazing. He peppers me with emails and WhatsApps and ideas, and that's the sort of energy you need for something like Forever Yellow to be a success. So well done, Joe. Do we have any more questions from the floor? Nope. Okay, I'll wait for NBC to come back. He is coming back. It's just, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come along, everyone who's watched online, all the staff who've worked tonight. There's one chap who'll hate me saying it, but well done to Patrick. You've done a brilliant job in making this possible for people to watch online. So well done, mate. And last but not least, thanks very much to Jimmy, Mark and Michael. It's been a great evening. Thank you.